Bat Force Radio.
Bat Force Radio is rated M for mature, or should that be immature?
Hey guys, Dustin Wynn.
Hey, this is Scott Snyder.
This is Paul Dini.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
You're listening to Bat Force Radio.
This is Tom King. I write Batman Bitch, and this is Bat Force Radio.
Welcome back to Bat Force Radio, the Batman and DC podcast with no limits. Let's get to this week's roundtable as we record in the wee hours of the morning. We've got a Bat Force Tom in California.
What's up, everybody?
The Bat Force Times in New York. Legends of the Batman, also in California. Just rolling in after class starts. And I'm Robin Cross in Canada. Okay, so a while back, we had Tom King and Clayman join us on the show for our episode 1000 spectacular, and one of the topics that we discussed was the ridiculous stable of artists who Tom has had work on his Batman run. And Tom told us the story of one of those great artists who had actually gotten his attention by tweeting his art at him. I think he had sent with some of his Batman work, and Tom went to his editors at DC and wanted to get a green light to use this artist, and they showed him his art. They said, well, this looks like David Mazzucchelli, and he's like, yeah, exactly, it's awesome. So then he got the green light and was able to go to this artist and ask him, so do you want to draw Batman? So since then, I believe it started at issue 60, we have had this guy bring his great work to the Batman run and take us back to the times of David Mazzucchelli and Batman Year One. We've also seen him working on things like Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run. He's done a little bit of Heroes in Crisis, and he's all over lots of stuff. But joining us on the show for the first time, all the way from Barcelona, Mr. Jorge Fornes.
Hello, how are you? Oh, what a success.
Hell yes.
Batman, Daredevil.
Yeah.
Thanks for your words.
That story last time he was on that he had found you on Twitter, and that was how you ended up coming into his Batman run.
Well, I was working on comic books since 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe I'm the proof of it's never too late to work on comics, because I have 45 now. I started to work on comic books with 40, and well, yes, I was. A lot of people were asking about to do a Batman commissions, because I have some Mazzucchelli beats and I like this kind of work. And yes, Tom sent me and saying, hey, I love your work, and we can try to have you to work on Batman. And I will. And I did some pages on Batman 60 with Mikel Janin. I don't know. Now everybody is talking about my work, and I don't know why. But I don't know why. But I'm trying to keep working with them and now with Chip.
Yeah. Well, it's no question why people are talking about your work, because it's amazing work, and I think
Thank you.
yeah. What's so great about it is there's this very stripped down quality. It's like there's no fuss. It's exactly what it needs to be, and the images are very striking, because it's just it's a different style than what we've been used to for a long time. There's all these, everyone's trying to make these over the top 90s, not 90s style so much, but that kind of look, the beefed up muscular, like overly muscular man, and that looks cool. But what's awesome about yours is, because of Tom's writing style, your art comes across very well with the kind of story that he's trying to tell, especially kind of like the romanticism with the Batman and Catwoman stuff. That one page that you have where he's jumping after Catwoman in the night, jumping off a rooftop. That's kind of like a great image that I think of when I think of your work. Something that's
one I own, you're saying.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, that one. So that's just kind of like, when I think of your work, I think of that rooftop scene or Batman in a suit it's a real suit. It's like the David Mazzucchelli suit, the old suits like that. It's not like an armor, it's a suit. And
yeah. Well, I think it's well. I'm an old man with 45 years, so I like the work of 80s and 70s and 60s. And maybe now is another way to work with these characters, of weapons and armors and something like that. And I like the composition too of the all artists. I love Mazzucchelli. I love Hollywood. I love all the kind of artists, and I'm just trying to do the comic books that I want to read now. I know that it's maybe it's a very classic style for the new generations. I don't know. Is that I like.
Jorge, you know what I love most about your style and why you're probably my favorite artist right now drawing comics? It is because the way you draw the backgrounds, it's almost like Batman is an everyday hero currently in society. You draw the backgrounds of like current New York with like the buildings. It's almost like it's real streets. I don't know where you get your inspiration from, but it's almost like it's real New York buildings in the background.
Well, for me, it's Gotham is the New York at the 80s. Is the New York of Taxi Driver and dirty city with a lot of crime, and it's I don't like so much the classic Gothic Gotham because I love the noir genre. I'm trying to do something close to this kind of movies and the noir novels and maybe a pulp hero, And for the inspiration, whatever. I was in New York and I take a lot of pictures of dirty places and with the films of the 80s or finally of the 70s too. Well, a lot of them.
That's beautiful. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it's getting a positive response from other readers who, the older readers who kind of grew up with that kind of style, and they're seeing it reintroduced now in this modern age, and it's really striking a chord with them. And then maybe some of the young readers that had never been able to see these kinds of characters shown in that kind of style. I think, like I said, what I liked about the Tom King stuff is he's really kind of giving multiple artists an opportunity to kind of showcase their work. And when you started on your stuff, we were all talking about, man, this is some awesome art, like this is some really cool stuff. Love this style. So much as one of us had to go out and buy your original art because he loved it so much. So I was going to ask, have you had an opportunity to kind of get feedback from fans like at conventions or anything like that?
Yes. Well, I was last year in New York City.
Oh, awesome.
But I want to go next year because this year I have too much work. Anyway, I was a bit scared when I started to work on Batman because there are a lot of great artists, Kleiman, Mika Hanin. Maybe my style is a bit different than the new styles, too classic. And I thought that the people said, okay, this guy is the worst and we don't want this guy drawing Batman. But well, now it's a very good feedback with the people. I'm very happy. And about the conventions, maybe next year I will try to go to San Diego or New York. I don't know yet.
Awesome.
Because I'm always working on a lot of things. I'm a workaholic, and maybe I have time, maybe not. We will see.
I wanted to sort of rewind things and just get an idea from you of what got you into art. What was it that made you want to take this path, and how did you get started?
Well, the thing is that I have been love comics since I was a child. But sometimes the life is taking you for another ways. And I was the last 20 years working on I don't know what's the word in English for a car's garage.
¿Cómo se dice en español? Yeah, like it was an auto body shop.
Okay. Yeah, and when I was 38, 39, I started to draw again and send some sample pages to DC and Marvel, and 3 years later I started to work on the Batman annual with Katie Cooper, Thunderbolts in Marvel. I tried to do make this to for life.
For those unable to see, Legends is showing off his original page that he bought from Jorge.
From issue 66.
That's the one I was talking about.
The jump.
Yeah, it's awesome.
The best part about this page is the finger street at the bottom right corner.
Yeah.
You can see.
Yeah, finger street. I love to do this kind of things to do homage or secret homage on some pages or panels. I did an homage for Catwoman when in Rome with Tim Sale too, and the same issue. If I have the chance, I'm always doing homage for all comics, for Batman all comics or whatever. It's like an Easter eggs.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you were working as a mechanic, right?
Yeah. I was working
when you
not a mechanic on reception or service parts. I didn't was repairing cars, but yes, in a Ford dealer.
Okay. So were you able to draw? Like, have you always been able to draw like this? Because you're saying that you kind of had this talent. You're drawing. Your career goes in a completely different path. You're kind of doing something unrelated to comics, and then you decide, you know what? I'm going to jump back into it. I'm going to get back into drawing. And I mean, how are you just this good? That you've always been this good? This is pretty crazy to hear that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, maybe I'm the proof that is always it's never too late. It's never too late, because sometimes the thing is that I have some problems at home, with my father and family. My father dies by cancer 6 or 7 years ago, and I thought that okay, maybe I will try to do something that I love. And not to work for life, but I would like to take this train to see how it goes. Yeah. And the thing is, I get very lucky because in 1 or 2 years, I was publishing my very first published page on DC and Marvel later. So I get very lucky.
I mean, luck is probably part of it, but your talent is insane, considering that you were kind of doing it for a while. You took a backseat to a different career path, and then you were able to kind of pick it back up. And most people, they struggle and they try real hard, and they get a lot of feedback from the company saying, "Oh, you have to improve this. Keep trying this." Was there anything like that? Like, was there any point where DC was like, "Okay, well, we see what you're doing, but you're not ready yet," or was it like you got in touch with Tom and he thought at that moment, "No, you're ready to go"?
No, first of all, I was talking with Tom, but I was a virtual now artist, I did some works for Marvel and DC, and then I was working on Dynamite, doing Magnus and Aftershock, but my last work were for small publishers. The thing is that Jamie Esselrich, the editor of Batman Group, goes to Spain for a Comic-Con the same year after to talk with Tom. And I had the chance to meet them and talk with Jamie. I don't know why, but he think about to give me the chance to start on Batman. Yeah, well, I did maybe 4 or 6 pages, So if the pages were bad, I didn't keep working on the title, but all goes well.
What's your process like? As far as with this specific book, because it's twice a month, and you've had a few issues on it. Do they kind of rotate you in, and you're able to kind of know when you're going to be jumping in for a certain issue, and then you have a break, and then do you know ahead of time when you might get another one, or is it like it's just kind of as it comes?
What is my process for work or on the issues?
Yeah, do they tell you which issues you're going to be on to give you enough time to plan it?
Well, maybe sometimes you have 1 month. Sometimes you have 2 months. It depends. I have to say that I'm a fast artist.
Okay.
I spend when I have the Tom's script, I spend maybe 1 week to do the layouts. Maybe it's the long part because for me it's the most important part to do the layouts. And then I can do 1 or 2 pages per day because I have a very poor pencils. I did all of the tiles and the shadows at the final inks, you know. So I have the luck to be a bit fast.
Wow.
But anyway, in this work, you have to work with the deadline that you have. So if you have 3 weeks, you have to finish on 3 weeks, and if you have 2 months, and you can work on 2 issues at a time.
Right.
You do your own inking as well, correct?
Yes. But I did on physical on inks, maybe 3-4 pages for issue. Because I love to work on digital because I can improve illuminations on the stand and change fast the focus of light to have the chance to use the shadows and the lights for the storytelling.
It's like its own. That's its own like process itself, is learning the digital aspects of it and being able to kind of use that.
Well, Mignola is the master of use the shadows and lights for the storytelling. So I just trying to learn about the all classic black and white artists from the EC. Put all of this at the. If you see my work, maybe can think about to work do it 10 or 30 years ago. I'm looking for that, you know, all this classic kind of style. If I want, at some point, I will do a comic book with an old paper.
Oh yeah. So is there? I mean, you're on Batman right now, so that's pretty amazing. Is there any other character that you haven't worked on at DC that you would love to try?
Yeah, Constantine, The Question.
Oh.
I love a lot of DC characters, mainly from the 80s. I love the 18th era with all of fantastic comic books like The Dark Knight or Year One or The Question with Dennis O'Neil.
Yeah, so you really do love those old pulpy style characters, don't you?
Yeah. I love to work to something with John Constantine in London or in England, something like that. I love the urban characters and dark.
Do you think that maybe where you live inspires what kind of characters you like? Because I've been lucky enough to visit Barcelona, and something that I love about Barcelona is that it has a very traditional old style feel to the city, but almost in a modern way. It's an international city, but it feels there's a lot of rich history and culture there, but it feels like rich history and culture that is very modern with like the people and the technology. Do you think that like maybe that history in the architecture and that kind of thing inspires like the comics that you like?
I try, but it's difficult for the artist who lives in Europe and not in USA to get the look of the American cities, you know?
Oh yeah.
Because there is a lot of different things, New York or Chicago or whatever, and we take a lot of pictures and we try to understand the ways and the cities, you know, to put all of this at the comic books. Because I'm drawing Batman and Gotham is not a real city, but sometimes you have to draw New York or Washington or whatever, you know, and it's a bit difficult for us from here.
Have you ever drawn any part of Gotham in a European style, or do you always try to do it like kind of New York style?
No, I always try to do Gotham as New York at the 80s. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now you also got
for me it's a perfect fit. For me.
Yeah.
You also got to do New York in the Daredevil comics with Chip Zdarsky's run. How did that one start? How did that start for you? How did you come onto Chip's run?
Because I love the work of Chip, and I love the character. Dewey Lewis, the editor of Daredevil. Daredevil is the word in English. Daredevil.
Daredevil.
Daredevil. Yeah. Dewey Lewis, the editor of this title in Marvel, sent me an email. Okay, Chip loves to work with you. And of course, I love the character. And well, I tried to fix my schedule to have the chance to work on a few issues, and I'm working on an arc now.
Awesome. So about 3 issues total so far.
Yeah. Yes. I did issue 10 too, so at last for 4 issues.
Wow.
I love the
You're all
character.
over the place.
I love Miller's work, and for me it's an awesome opportunity to have the chance to work with Batman and Daredevil, some of the best Miller's work, and Mazzucchelli works too.
Yeah.
And for me, it's a dream to have the chance to work with these characters.
Right. Yeah. It's 2 of the biggest characters.
They're right in line with your style. You know, they're the street level characters where you can have them in their cities, you know, being deep in their cities, as opposed to, you know, the super powered characters who are just, you know, flying over the cities. Batman and Daredevil are the guys that are like in the alleys and in the streets.
Yes. Well, I'm not a big fan of the sci-fi. I did a Guardians of the Galaxy comic book, but my sci-fi is some close to the Blade Runner way, you know, no, not cosmic adventures. But I love to work on with alleys and dark places and urban characters. I love to do something with Moon Knight too someday.
Ooh, that would be awesome.
I love this kind of characters, and I get lucky to have the chance to work with these characters. Maybe a lot of people are working on their business during some years, and they don't have the chance to work with the characters, you know.
Yeah. Well,
so for me, it's a dream in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I think that's it's a testament to your style, because I think that you make those specific characters look so good in your style, and I think it's kind of something it's unique nowadays. So it really is something that really pops and stands out when it's contrasted against some of the other artists out there. Like you're very unique. So it's just great for you because, you know, you get to play with the characters you love, and then we get to see them in a way that we don't always see them, which is really nice to see.
Thank you.
A lot of artists say that they hate doing the small little details in the backgrounds, but it sounds like you really love that stuff.
Yeah, because at my first work, I thought that was on X-Men or my first work with Wolverine with Jason Latour. Let me find the word.
You can puedes decirlo en español y puedo.
La peor parte de mi trabajo, the worst part of my work, was the background. And a lot of people says, okay, this guy is the worst because he don't do any background of any panel. I remember that a guy who posted on Facebook, on the Marvel Facebook, please please we don't want to Jorge Fornes doing X-Men. His style is fucking horrible.
Oh my god.
yes, and was my first published work, you know.
Oh man.
So I'm always trying to improve las peores mis peores virtudes. Well, the background was the first part of my work that I want to do better. Wow. And I started to understand the composition for the backgrounds and the shadows over the buildings and all of this. And now maybe it's the best part of my work, you know.
Oh yeah,
it is definitely the best part of your work.
That's so funny. So you definitely focused in on you said like you wanted to focus on your weaknesses and kind of turn them into your strengths.
Yeah, I'm enjoying a lot now drawing backgrounds and overall doing compositions.
Yeah, your backgrounds and your compositions, the point that you've gotten them to, it looks very cinematic.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Looks like
I try to do it.
beautiful.
I'm not doing well always, but sometimes I think that the composition works.
Yeah.
But then the problem to work in titles like as Batman or Daredevil is a lot of very, very, very good artists are working with you at the same with the same character, and you do a comic book, and next year you see the work of Mikkel or Kleiman or whatever, and you think, okay, I'm the worst the worst artist at the issue.
Yeah.
It's nice to
You
see.
look at their stuff and you're like, oh shit, these guys
Yeah.
are so good.
Thank you.
Well, it's funny because we talked to Clay Mann and he says the same thing when he says stuff that he sees of yours and other artists where
Okay.
yeah, he'll see your guys' work and he'll be like, oh shit.
I love the work
that's-
of Kleiman, and I love the work of Mikkel Hanin and Mitch Gerards. I love the work of Mitch Gerards.
Yeah, you guys are. I mean, I think the four of you guys right now are killing it, just all over, and we're very lucky as fans that Tom. I think it can be very easy to lose quality when a book kind of cycles through different artists, and people might not like the inconsistency, but with you guys, I feel like you're all so good, and you probably love the characters so much that every time that one of you guys gets put on this book, it's a real treat because it's you all have your own distinctive style. You're all very different from each other, but you all have something that you're very good at, and it really shows up. So
Thank you.
we're lucky.
I
as
think it's
fans.
the good thing of work with Tom is if he have to get two artists at the same book, he can make the story to do maybe two different ways of explaining the same story, or
Yeah.
you are not doing the next page. You are doing a little story inside a big book,
Mm.
and it's easy to work with two artists at the same book but with different stories. As I see issue 60 with Mikkel, I did the Batman pages and Mikkel do the Penguin pages, I think, or
That's awesome.
Gordon. Yeah, this is awesome because you have to do your small story inside the book. It's a very good thing from Tom.
I think too. What also helps is I think some of the other books from maybe different publishers or different books in general, the artist. It's weird how so much emphasis is put on a writer these days, to where it's the same writer on most of the issues, so the writer is the one that's telling the story. But I feel like over at DC at least, a lot of more emphasis is placed on the artist, and Tom specifically. I feel like he always has in mind when he's writing what artist is going to draw it. So
yes.
So when the story comes out in the comic form for us, it just completely naturally fits. The art and the story are almost like perfect. The way there's the beats, the themes, the feeling to what he's writing comes out perfectly in your art.
Yeah, this is why it's awesome to work with people like Tom, because he's writing the story, but he's always thinking who is the artist.
Yeah.
So he gives you the chance to draw the things that you love.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tom King, Jorge, on this recent issue of the Batman Annual, I was just curious what his script was for the page where Batman is jumping into the dragon.
Yeah, it was very funny to draw. I have to say that when I had the script for the first time, I said, "What?" Because I didn't.
Was it just Batman fights dragon, or what was the words?
Well, the thing is that I was expecting a noir crime history, and Tom and Jamie sent me this script with dragons, with maybe kaijus, and UFC combat, and a lot of different things. And I was a bit scared. So I think that I'm not the best person for draw a dragon.
Wow. Well, that page is my favorite page of the entire issue.
Thank you. I think that last was a very maybe the most funny issue to draw I ever did.
Nice.
And because
it was like almost every page was like a splash page that you drew.
Yeah. It was very, very, very funny. It was very funny. But when I had the script for the first time, I was a bit scared.
It was like intimidating.
Well, if you have read the annual, you know that it's not the usual Batman story.
What have you now that you've been able to kind of do Batman for a while, is there anything that either you were asked to do or that you came across that was really hard or difficult or you had a hard time with? Like, what's been the hardest part? What's been the hardest thing to draw where either you like started over or you kind of kept doing it? Anything that you can think of?
The hardest thing is maybe you are always, not for the art, but you are always working with a iconic character, you know, and the exposition of to be drawing Batman, and there is a lot of fans expecting a very, very, very good work inside the Batman books, and you are always trying to do your best with the character. Maybe this is the hardest part, the pressures of work with this iconic character. But at last you are working you alone and your table and the paper. You know, you just can to enjoy the process, and good luck. We will see what the people say next week or next month. You can do anything more, you know.
No one's talking much shit about your Batman on the Facebook page, I don't think.
Maybe one or two, yeah. Sure, there is a lot of people out there saying, "Okay, fucking artists, this is a bullshit."
Yeah. Well, I think when your issues are selling out and they get to second and third printing, that kind of tells you enough, right?
Well, I don't know, but it's very funny to see when the issue comes up and the feedback of the people by Twitter or whatever saying, okay, I love this page and all, I love this page is the best part for me, you know.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's very awesome.
When you draw characters in books, like if it's a background or something like that, someone that's not in the that's not Batman or not Bane or something. Do you use any real life models for what characters' faces look like? Because there was a page in Batman 72 where Batman he's in the house and there's a photo on the wall of the Wayne family, and there's the face of Thomas Wayne in that portrait. I've shown it to a couple of people, and they thought the same thing that I thought, that the Thomas Wayne in this portrait looks like Jim Halpert from The Office.
Yes, it is.
No way.
No way, Robin.
I love to do these kind of things for the second read, you know. Maybe you can call jokes or not, or homage, but I love to do this little kind of things for to have the reader the opportunity to discover new things on every read, you know. Mm-hmm. And I thought that I think that I was looking The Office when I was making this page, and I said, okay, let's do a cameo.
This is fucking great.
And I think it's a good fit for the character, you know, in a future films.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
Yeah,
I have to look up this page now.
To see that, because it's my favorite show, and I was looking back at the issue before we talked.
I'm a big fan of the character too, and I think that it was saying the first season of Jack Ryan or something like that. And I said, and well, you have at the last page of the annual, you have a bit homage to Paul Dini's work with Batman getting inside of who is the word in Piranhas. Do you remember this panel with Batman getting inside the Piranhas?
Is that in this annual?
Yes, on a fishbowl of piranhas.
Yeah. The scene from
the piranhas.
Yeah. Okay. So this panel is from Paul Dini.
Yeah. Oh, from Mad Love.
Paul Dini too.
Right. With the Joker and Harley.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, there are a lot of cool references to other stories in there. I wanted to ask if those were just your ideas, or had Tom put any of those into the script?
Sometimes it's Tom's ideas, and a few maybe are something that I put inside too. Because doing comics, I think it's a teamwork, you know. And Tom always have the best ideas, but you don't know for sure what he have in mind always when the issue comes up to the stores. I see a lot of things that a lot of new things that I didn't any notice when I draft the issue. You know, how I kept when I the first script of Tom is not the last script. You know, you draw the issue and he puts a lot of new cool things inside when the issue is almost done. You know, and sometimes these homages comes from the script from Tom. And sometimes I did this kind of things to how this panel is or the clock panel at the issue 60. Yeah. I thought that there is a panel with Catwoman holding inside a museum on issue 60. I did an homage from Catwoman wearing rum from Team Sale, you know.
Yeah.
I always try to put a bit things to histories or words that I love.
That's awesome.
I'm saying the panel now with Paul Kaminsky.
Yeah.
Can't believe I missed this.
So was it that you subliminally put it in, or you were watching Jack Ryan? You're like, nah, I'm gonna make it him.
Yeah, no. I always I thought that it was funny to put this kind of things.
That's awesome.
Identity theft is not a joke, Jorge.
I know.
Well, a lot of people were talking about, this is for Kaminsky, this is for Kaminsky. Yeah, well, I don't know.
That's hilarious. What are so you said that you love noir stories and you love like that look of noir. Is there anything that inspires you like right now that's newer that inspires your work? Or is it usually things from the 80s?
Lot of things. I love the work of Chris Ware and Asterios Polly from Mazzucchelli. I love to do something like that, or some European artist is doing great things now. So I'm always trying to read and see a lot of different things from a lot of ways, not just superheroes, you know. And I would like to do a noir history Bogart movie.
Like a gangster? You could do like a gangster book.
Yeah. Well, I did a Hot Lunch special with Elliot Rahal for 4 issues, and it's a noir story, very good. If you have the chance to read it, it's from Aftershock.
Definitely check that out.
And I enjoy a lot this working of this title because it's like an Scorsese Coppola movie, you know.
Speaking of which, did you get to see the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie?
Yes, I love it because I love the city.
Right.
Of Joker movie. This Gotham is my Gotham.
Yeah.
Gotham, my Gotham. And I love the character. I love Joaquin Phoenix doing the Joker character, and I love the music too. And I thought that this is a very risky movie with this character. You know, I love to see another ways of superhero movies, not just the Marvel way. I love the Marvel movies too, but as an adult, I want to see another kind of things at the cinema sometimes. More serious films and with another kind of tell the story. I'm a big fan of Taxi Driver and King of Comedy.
Oh yeah,
this kind of films from Scorsese.
Right.
Great
so
movies.
It's funny how when Joker first started coming out, people were saying, "Oh, it's just like Taxi Driver. It's just like Taxi Driver."
Yeah.
But I was saying no. It's more like King of Comedy.
Yes.
Right.
It's yes. Both of them King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. I'm a big fan of Taxi Driver, more than King of Comedy.
Uh-huh.
But I think that the Joker character fits perfect for King of Comedy because the same kind of
delusion.
Person, you know?
Yeah, he's a delusional. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's funny how Robert De Niro is the star in King of Comedy, and he's trying to get onto is it Jerry Lewis? Jerry Lewis's show?
Yes.
And then and then in this movie, Robert De Niro plays the Jerry Lewis character. So it's just kind of like a nod to that as well.
This kind of homage is always that I am always trying to do at the comic books too, you know?
Yeah.
It's this kind of homage. So
It's cool, yeah.
get things that you love and put inside new things that some readers can discover new things, you know?
Yeah, it's also cool, especially King of Comedy. Well, I mean, both of them, Taxi Driver and King of Comedy, are such great movies because they really are like a snapshot of New York in the 70s and the 80s.
Yes.
And so it's like New York doesn't look like that anymore, and it's almost completely different. So when you go back and you see a movie like that, it's almost like a history lesson.
Yeah.
And it's almost its own character, you know, like the city becomes like alive almost, and it looks a certain way. And I think it's another reason why people probably love your work so much is because your Gotham is from that age, and it doesn't look like the Gotham that that so many people kind of overuse. So it's cool to see that you love paying homage to that for sure.
Yes, I think that the city is one of the most important characters at the Batman histories. You know.
Yeah.
The way that you show the city, it's the way that the people see your work. Yes, another character. It's another character.
Do you read comic books, current comic books?
Yeah, when I have time.
Yeah.
Which ones do you like to read?
I'm doing 2 comic books at the same time, Batman and Daredevil, so I
Jesus.
have not too much time to read. But yes, I am reading all classic comic books from Alex Raymond and Alex Toth, something like that. Some European comic books too. I have to say that I buy a lot of comic books. To read, I don't have too much time. Maybe when I will be old, but but I'm always trying to get to get things at the store. But a lot of them, some works from Daniel Klaus or Charles Barnes and something like that.
In Barcelona, what is there? Oh man, I'm trying to remember. Is it called Urbana Comics?
Anna, I don't remember. Well, we have a lot of stores in Barcelona, yeah.
There's a really nice one when I was there. I can't remember where it was in Barcelona, but I went to visit it, and
Norma Comics, maybe?
Norma, that's what it was.
It's a big store, one of the biggest stores in Barcelona, yeah.
Yeah, and when I went in there, it's better than a lot of the comic books that we have here. And it was cool because everything was in Spanish. I got Mad Love in Espanol. And it's cool because all the words are in Spanish, and it's, oh my God. And you know what you guys have? Your hardcovers are like, they have different covers, and there's variants to your hardcovers, and the way that they make your hardcovers are better than the way they make ours. So it's just very cool to see. So you guys, you're lucky that you're in Barcelona, because I think just the city alone has so much, but you have some good comic shops.
Thank you. At last, if you have read the story, now it's nice to get different editions of the comic books from another countries. There is a lot of black and white Batman editions from France now.
God,
I'm getting all of them from Amazon.
Yeah.
Because are very, very nice black and white versions of the American comic books, you know.
Right, yeah, it's like the noir version of it.
Yes,
yeah. Urban Comics does a lot of those very cool black and white editions.
Yeah, and DC are now publishing some black and white editions too.
Yeah, hopefully they start doing that with your stuff too. It's cool.
Maybe
to have
one day.
Yeah, I mean, hey, they do them pretty quick now, because I think, well, I forgot what it was. Yeah, they just did. They did it for Batman White Knight over in France, I think. Yeah. And that one just came out like barely 2 years ago or something. You know, if something's good and people like it, they'll make it for them. So we'll keep buying your stuff to make sure they do. Is there any other artists that you see right now? Like, it sounds like Clayman, Mikhail Janin, Mitch Gerrits. Is there any? Yeah. Is there anybody that you see and you're like, oh my God, that guy's just amazing?
A lot of them. Chris Samnee, the work of Chris Samnee.
Oh yeah, he's
David
yeah.
Aja, David Aja, Marcos Martin. The last issues from John Romita Jr. on Batman. Too many.
yeah.
Too many
David,
great artists out there.
I've always wanted David Aja to do some Batman stuff because did he do? I think he was doing Hawkeye for a while. He did like a Hawkeye run, but I think he's a Marvel. Is he only on Marvel?
He's doing the seats now for Bergen Books, no?
I'm not sure, but
Yes.
I want him on DC.
Yes,
So-
maybe someday. I don't know.
Yeah. I would love to see him do like some Gotham stuff, like Batman and that kind of stuff.
I love the work of Aja too. He's looking always for dark and gritty backgrounds and one of the best storytellings of the medium. It's another influence for me. The work of David Aja.
Yeah. So you feel like there's tons of influence that you can have with your peers right now, then, huh?
Yeah, maybe both have the same influence. Kelly and the classic American artist.
It's
But we're looking with a new storytelling. For the storytelling, I get a lot of books from Chris Webb, for example.
The lightning round, Jorge, is a part of the show where we just ask some silly questions that are just simple things about yourself, so listeners get to know you.
Who would you want to play in a movie, and how would you die in the movie?
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Right? I think
Yeah.
How to say again? It's a hard question. I want to play. If I want to play a character in a movie, maybe the car from Blade Runner. Rick the car from Blade Runner.
Oh, nice.
I love to play this character. And the other question was to kill a character.
No, how would you die?
How would your character die?
Kill it by the bad guy.
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
I don't like the happy endings.
Yeah, like the sad, gritty ones. Like Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Or like The Lion King.
All right. Lightning round time.
First of all, this is my favorite question to ask. Sorry, what is the best advice that you have been given, and who gave you that advice?
Yes, this was for sleep. You will have time when you die. And was a friend of my father. For sleep, you will have time when you die.
Yeah.
Two things, not to sleep.
Yeah.
It's the best advice. I think it's true, Of course, you need to sleep, but
Right.
the thing is that when I was working and drawing at the same time, I had to sleep just 4 or 5 hours every night. And now I'm doing the same, working at comic books.
Just because there's too much to draw.
If you could have dinner with any human being that lived in history, dead or alive, anyone, who would it
alive.
be?
Maybe to alive, Jack Kirby.
Ooh.
Oh, nice! Whoa,
Wow.
Yeah.
that's 2 in a row, right?
Jack Kirby or Alex Toth? Maybe Jack Kirby.
New York pizza or Chicago pizza?
Well, I always have been in New York, so I didn't know Chicago pizza.
You haven't tried it yet?
That's the right answer.
Maybe next year, if I can have the chance to go to Chicago Comic Con or C2E2 is the name.
Yes.
Yeah, C2E2.
If
I
you're
will
there,
try-
I'm there.
I will try to taste the Chicago pizza.
I don't think they have Chicago in Europe, because if they do, it's usually Italian Neapolitan style.
Yeah, Italian is close to there, so we have.
Yeah.
But well, when I was in New York, I love this pizza.
Oh yeah, it's good.
I like it.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you like the plain M&Ms or peanut M&Ms?
I don't like M&Ms.
Oh,
I can eat a lot of chocolate because I'm an old man and I'm getting fat working all the day on a table, and I can touch the chocolate and something like that.
You're a better man than me.
And if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Fly.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fly or to do 3 different comic books at the same month. Maybe the last one.
Hell yeah.
A lot of
Perfect.
comic creators choose being able to control time because then they could have all the time they needed for deadlines.
Or maybe to be super fast, like
Yeah.
Flash or Superman, doing things. Lot of things super fast.
That's so funny.
Well, Jorge, we want to thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks
out of
to
your busy
you.
schedule to
Apologies
talk with
again
us.
for my bad English.
Oh, no.
No, you're
taking
fine. No,
classes.
you sound fine.
I'm taking classes. Maybe the next time that we have the chance to talk, I will be better talking.
No.
Or not, I
And
don't know yet.
next time you'll host the show because you'll be better.
We can do one thing.
you-
You have to learn, take in Spanish classes, and I will take English classes,
Yeah. Usted hablas inglés mejor que nosotros.
Bueno, no lo sé. I don't know.
No, yeah, it's true. You speak English better than we do, man.
Hey Gotham dwellers, make sure to stop everything right now and subscribe to Bat Force Radio. We can be found on iTunes and SoundCloud. Don't miss out. Guaranteed to satisfy all of your Batman and DC needs.